Looking back, my life has been quite a challenging journey. I've faced a lot of ridicule from people, which has been frustrating at times. But maybe those experiences fueled my determination to strive harder. My name is Ethan, and I'm a 32-year-old man. Currently, I live alone, having moved out of my parents' house. My family runs a farm, and my classmates often mock me for that. One classmate in particular, Ashley, a wealthy and beautiful girl, was especially mean to me. Ashley, a middle school classmate, would flaunt expensive brand name items that no typical middle schooler could afford. Our school had a rule against bringing expensive items, but she ignored it and would bring things like a Louis Vuitton wallet, wear a Burberry scarf, or carry a Dior pouch. She loved showing them off to everyone in the class. I found her quite annoying, but I never confronted her about it. However, one day when I wore a hand-knitted scarf to school, Ashley made a point of ridiculing it. "Ew, what's with that tacky scarf? Is it hand-knitted?" "Yes, it is. What's wrong with that? Is it really that bad?" "Yeah, it's super tacky. Did your mom knit it or something?" "Yes, my mom made it for me." "Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. So poor that you can't even buy stuff. She must have unraveled an old sweater to make it, right? Typical of poor people." "Well, actually, wearing such trash and not feeling ashamed, well, it suits a poor person like you." After saying these hurtful things, Ashley burst into laughter. I was very displeased but decided to ignore her and move on. This scarf was indeed made by my mom, who bought new yarn to knit it, not unraveling an old sweater. But I knew any explanation would sound like an excuse to her, someone with a brand supremacy mindset. Ashley seemed only interested in brand names, disregarding everything else. Once, she nonchalantly threw away a barely used eraser, saying, "I don't need this anymore." She clearly didn't value things. Coming from a less affluent family, I couldn't easily ask my parents for new stationery. So, when Ashley discarded her eraser, I considered picking it up, but my classmates noticed and ridiculed me for it. The next day, they started calling me a thief and a beggar. "Ew, it's so creepy that you're picking up stuff I threw away. It's unbelievable that you can't afford something as cheap as an eraser. This is why I hate poor people. But it's still usable, and it seems wasteful not to pick it up. But I threw it away, so it's mine, right? Don't steal things, you thief." This is the epitome of being a thief. I thought once thrown away, it wasn't her property anymore, but since I took it from the trash, I couldn't argue back. Being called a pervert and creepy was harsh, but I realized it might be intimidating for a girl to see a boy rummaging through her discarded items. After that, I refrained from looking for usable items Ashley might have thrown away. I didn't want to do this, but we had limited means and few alternatives. My parents worked hard, but no matter how much they worked, we never became wealthy. We're a fruit farming family, and our income is subject to the whims of the weather. If a storm hits before the harvest, it can ruin all the crops. My family, consisting solely of my parents running a farm, worked tirelessly but barely made enough to get by day to day. So, our meals were always simple. For breakfast, we just had bread, and my lunchbox typically contained bread with strawberry jam, with an occasional sausages when I was lucky. Dinner was also modest. Having macaroni cheese with bacon was considered a luxury. Ashley, being wealthy, would always talk about eating high-quality beef, or snacking on sweets from prestigious shops and fruits in elegant wooden boxes her mother ordered. She even said she couldn't possibly eat the fruits produced by our humble farm. It was one thing for her to mock me, but insulting the fruits my parents worked so hard to grow really made my blood boil. With these feelings, I graduated from middle school. After middle school, I decided to work in agriculture with my parents. We had limited funds and couldn't afford to send me to high school. I thought it would be better to take over the family farm rather than burden my parents with the expense of further education. Right when I was in my third year of middle school, my father got injured and had difficulty walking. So, I had to take the lead in farming. My father taught me all about farming, leaning on his cane. Every day, I worked hard, getting covered in mud, dedicated to the farm. No matter how cold or hot it was, I never missed a day of farm work. Even when I had a fever, I would endure and work, not wanting to put all the burden on my mom. Thinking about everyone else enjoying their high school life made me want to cry at times. But I made a vow to work for the sake of our farm, setting aside my sadness and immersing myself in the work. Time flew, and before I knew it, I was in my 30s. One day, I came home from work and found an invitation to a class reunion in the mailbox. I wasn't keen on going, but then I remembered a girl from my class who I was interested in. Her name was Lisa. Hoping she was still single and thinking about talking to her, I decided to attend. I wasn't eager to see Ashley, but for the chance to meet Lisa, I got ready. Then, I headed to the 5-star hotel where the reunion was being held. Our hometown is in a rural area, but it does have a 5-star hotel. When I arrived at the grand banquet hall, a woman who stood out caught my eye. Ah, that's Ashley. I recognized her instantly. Her voice and the way she spoke hadn't changed much. She was flaunting a Louis Vuitton bag on her lap. You know, I'm really having a hard time. Working for a major company is just so exhausting. I'm so busy, I feel like I could collapse any moment. But I'm trusted by my boss and I'm delivering results. Haha. So, Ashley works for a major corporation. Her family is wealthy, so she probably doesn't need to work. But it was clear she was working as a temporary measure until marriage. But you know, if I find the right man, I'll have to quit my job. My father says I should become a housewife after getting married. My mother is a housewife too, so that's probably the best path for a woman after marriage. Oh, where could my Prince Charming be? I thought it was unusual to work with the intention of quitting, but it was her career, so it didn't concern me. She wasn't causing me any trouble. Instead, I started looking around for Lisa. Lisa was the only girl who defended me when I was being harassed in middle school. I wanted to thank her and see her again. All the women had applied makeup and changed their appearances, so it was difficult to recognize them. But they were wearing name tags, so I searched for her by that. There she is. Lisa was wearing a light green cocktail dress with a pearl necklace and holding a white bag. Her hair was styled in a soft perm. Back in middle school, she had the typical look of a class representative with braided pigtails and glasses, but she had changed so much, it took me by surprise. Yet, her kind aura hadn't changed. I approached Lisa to thank her for helping me back then. Hey, I'm Ethan. Do you remember me? Oh, Ethan, it's been so long. I'm glad you remember. Hey, thanks for helping me out in middle school. It really meant a lot to me. Ahaha, you don't need to thank me for that. After all, helping someone in trouble is just the right thing to do, isn't it? Lisa said it was the obvious thing to do, but I wondered how many people in this world would actually act on that obviousness. Because she stood up for a poor guy like me, Lisa ended up being disliked by the other girls. By the end of middle school, she was often left sitting alone. I felt truly sorry that she had to go through tough times just because she helped me. But I was glad I got the chance to thank her at this reunion. If I hadn't come, I might never have had the opportunity to express my gratitude. After all, I didn't know Lisa's contact information and had no idea what she had been up to since then. While I was having a pleasant chat with Lisa, Ashley approached us, her high heels clicking on the floor. She stood in front of me, smiling slyly. Oh, Ethan, what are you doing here? I came for the reunion. A reunion? There's no place for a poor person like you here. I don't need to hear that from you, Ashley. Who do you think you're talking to? I come from a wealthy family. graduated from a prestigious university, and work at a major corporation. You're just a farmer. There's no seat for you here. That's not for you to decide, Ashley. Hut, a bottom-rung person like you can't even pay the participation fee, right? Why don't you just go home? Oh, is that so? Then I leave. Ahahaha, poor people are so pathetic. Can't even afford a measly $50. Ashley laughed her usual haughty laugh. I then made a phone call. Lisa looked a bit troubled beside me. Okay, I'm heading there now. Ah, is your dad coming to pick you up in his little truck? No, it's not that. Another classmate who had been in the restroom came back into the banquet hall, shouting, "Wow, there's an amazing car outside. A Porsche Cayman. Really? Maybe my father has come to pick me up." But he didn't say anything about buying a Cayman. Ashley seemed to think it was her father who had arrived. She was puzzled as her father hadn't mentioned buying a Cayman. Maybe it's a surprise for me. That would be nice. My birthday is coming up soon. Ashley headed towards the entrance. I, and then everyone else, followed her to the entrance. President Jordan, I've come to pick you up. Thanks, Keith. What? The president? Yeah, I'm a president, and this Cayman is mine. Keith here is my personal driver. Nice to meet you. I'm Keith, President Jordan's driver. What? You were just a pool dropout. How can you afford such a luxury car? You must have stolen it or something. Your claim of being a president must be a lie. No, I bought this car outright, and I'm not lying about being a president. I started my own company. You started a company? Yeah, I struggled a lot after taking over the family farm. It felt like cultivating barren land. I wasn't making any money and was in a tough spot. But I worked hard to get out of that situation and decided to advance agriculture using high-tech equipment. The latest machines are amazing. With AI making all the decisions, improving work efficiency. The investment was costly, but I was able to quickly recoup the costs. How is that possible? After that, everything fell into place. I developed a new variety of grapes called shiny grapes. Wait a minute. Aren't those the grapes that went for $15,000 per bunch at the first auction? I saw it on the news. Yeah, those are from my farm. Haha, sorry Ashley, I'm making more money than you. Seeing me say that, Ashley had a look of utter despair. It must have been a huge shock to her that someone she belittled turned out to be incredibly successful. Here's the participation fee. Well, I'll be going now. I decided to hand over the participation fee to Ashley and leave. With the typhoon approaching, I thought it would be best to offer Lisa a ride. After all, she had mentioned wanting to leave because her mood had been spoiled. Lisa, if you don't mind, please sit next to me. Really? Are you sure? Yeah, it's tough to go back in this weather, right? Besides, the station is a bit far from here, and taking a taxi would be expensive. Thank you, then I'll accept your offer. Wait a minute. Why does a loser like you get to ride in it? What? I deserve to ride in the Cayman more than you. Move. But Ashley was acting as if she had the right to get into my car. I hadn't invited her, and I was puzzled why she felt she deserved it more. Sure, I picked up erasers she threw away in middle school, so I was called shameless. But Ashley was being just as presumptuous. If she wanted to ride in a Cayman so badly, she could buy one herself or have her father buy it for her. Keith, let's go. Right away, sir. Then, goodbye. What? You don't have to come back, you know. I wouldn't even if you didn't say it. Keith, my driver, drove us away from the luxury hotel. I planned to drop Lisa off at her home first. It was pouring outside, and she had lost her umbrella, so she was in trouble. Sorry, I'm so clumsy that I lost it. Don't worry, everyone loses things sometimes. Still, Ethan, you've worked hard. Becoming a president, I had no idea. I've been busy since then, didn't get to meet many people, a lot happened. A lot, huh? Yeah, it was really tough until the agriculture business succeeded. My father passed away, you know. I was covered in mud every day, trying to figure things out. I see, you had a hard time. My father passed away when I was 17. As I mentioned before, my father was disabled due to an injury. One day, while he was out alone with his cane, he was involved in a traffic accident. A truck, mistaking the accelerator for the brake, plowed straight towards him. He couldn't escape because of his bad leg. Even with healthy legs, anyone would freeze seeing a speeding truck. I wondered how scared my father must have been. He was already gone before he was taken to the hospital, so thankfully he didn't suffer long. He might not have even realized what happened, passing away so suddenly. That's probably why strange things happened in our house. Lights in my father's room turned on by themselves, and his tools were found in different places. I thought maybe he still believed he was alive or had unfinished business. So, I worked hard, hoping he would find peace. When the business reached an annual turnover of $1.5 billion, my father's presence faded away. He must have been worried about me and the farm even after his death. When I shared this story with Lisa, she cried. Seeing her cry for me and my father made me realize what a kind person she is. She took a handkerchief from her bag and dabbed her eyes. Her eyes, slightly smudged from the eyeshadow, hadn't changed much since middle school. She had LASIK surgery but had always been nearsighted, wearing thick glasses. But her round, cute eyes, glimpsed briefly, had always been adorable to me. Could you turn right here, please? Yes, turning right here. Sorry for the trouble of driving me. No worries, you're a friend of President Jordan, right, President Jordan? Yeah, don't worry about it. My house is in this direction too. Oh, I see, but still, thank you. As we were saying goodbye, Lisa mentioned she wanted to exchange contact information with me. I was a bit surprised, but we exchanged our QR codes. Thinking about Lisa as I rode in the car, my driver Keith said something to me. President Jordan, it seems like you have feelings for that lady, don't you? Hey, Keith, what are you talking about? Well, your voice was very gentle when you spoke with her. It sounded like you might like her. Well, if you don't confess now, you might regret it later. I couldn't tell my wife I loved her. Yeah, I guess you're right. Keith, my driver, is a year younger than me. But he had already lost his wife at his age. It was fortunate that they didn't have children, but his wife passed away from cancer. This was before Keith became my driver. After his wife's illness and passing, he became like an empty shell. He used to be a taxi driver, but quit and spent his days aimlessly sitting on park benches. He often got stopped by the police for his unkempt appearance, looking almost homeless. There's no doubt people mistook him for a vagrant. He was even verbally abused by high school students. Despite his young age, Keith got into trouble with a group of delinquents. That's when I stepped in to help him. Stop it. What pleasure do you get from this? Get lost. Foo. Are you okay? Are you hurt? No, I'm not injured. That's good, but be careful around here. It's a hangout spot for delinquents. Yes, I will. I had lost something that day. It was my business card holder. Keith picked it up and brought it to my farm. It's not a small farm like before, but a huge one. We have a winery and a souvenir shop. There are people working in offices in a small building on the premises. Keith brought me a box of sweets along with the business card holder, as a way to say thank you. I'll never forget what you did for me. Thank you so much. It's nothing, really. But no one has ever helped me like that before. Is that so? After hearing Keith's story, I offered him a job at my place. I thought, even with his wife's passing, it's no use just staying in the park. Rather than running out of money and actually becoming homeless, it would be safer and more secure for him to work as a driver for me. I was shy and never managed to tell my wife I loved her. People are fragile and fleeting, so make sure you're prepared for anything and have no regrets. Yeah, hearing that from you, Keith, it carries more weight. I want you to be even happier, President Jordan. After all, you've been through a lot too. It's nice to hear that from you, Keith. You're kind. You're the kind one, President Jordan. You helped me when I was completely down. Not everyone would do that. Come to think of it, Lisa used to say that helping someone in trouble was just natural. I never thought I was capable of such things, but I realized that I had unknowingly helped a person named Keith. After that thought, Keith drove me back to the high-rise apartment. Currently, my mother and I live on the 25th floor of this high-rise. We live in the same building but in separate apartments. The reason is that I'm so busy with work and always in a hurry, so I didn't want to inconvenience my mother, hence we live on the same floor. And my mother says that she doesn't want any future daughter-in-law to suffer living with her mother-in-law. A wife, huh? Can I really handle that? As I mused at the entrance, the image of a woman floated into my mind. It was Lisa from earlier. What would life be like if Lisa were my wife? She's kind-hearted and has such a cute smile. She would surely be a source of comfort. Although she was a serious committee chairperson, she couldn't stop laughing once she started, which might brighten up our home. I found myself thinking. I absently gazed at the cell phone in my pocket. And then, a message from Lisa came through. From Lisa, "Thank you, I'll treat you next time," she sent. Unsure how to reply, I sent a dog sticker with "OK" written on it. Was that too indifferent? I wondered, but replying to someone you're interested in takes courage. If I had to type a normal message, I probably would have frozen on the spot for about an hour, not knowing what to say. Because I've never really messaged or called women outside of work and am not well versed in matters of love. After that, I was constantly filled with a heart-wrenching feeling as I thought about Lisa. I had a dinner date planned with Lisa, but I was uncertain about what to wear. Since I had no sense of fashion, I searched online for trendy clothes and then went to a store. I ended up buying the entire outfit displayed on a mannequin, from top to bottom. Then, I headed out to meet Lisa for dinner. Lisa had chosen the restaurant. I felt guilty about being treated by a lady, but I decided to gratefully accept Lisa's kindness. She was wearing a black dress and a cardigan. Her heels were modestly high. The bag she carried was the same white one she had before. "Sorry for asking you to come all this way. I really wanted to thank you," she said. "No, I should be the one apologizing for being treated," I replied. "Don't worry about it. I'm truly grateful for that time you gave me a ride," she responded. "I see," I said. We walked to the restaurant. The restaurant Lisa had reserved was a stylish French place. She had ordered a course meal, and a vibrant colored appetizer was placed before us. Just looking at it was a feast for the eyes. Then came the soup and the fish dishes. I thanked Lisa in my heart and savored the delicious meal. Lisa also smiled and enjoyed her food. A woman who enjoys her food is my type, and I imagined how happy it would be to share meals with such a smile in the future. Our home would undoubtedly become brighter, and meal times would always be enjoyable. After dinner, I walked around with Lisa. Shopping with her was genuinely fun. She looked at various things with sparkling eyes, almost like a young girl. "Thank you for treating me today, Lisa, and shopping was fun too," I said. "No, thank you, let's meet again," she replied. Yeah, next time, I'll pick the place," I said. "Jay, see you later." I was surprised when Lisa said she wanted to meet again. I thought this dinner was just a one-time thank you. Her suggesting another meeting made me secretly ecstatic. After that, Lisa and I went on several dates. I told her I wanted to be her boyfriend. Blushing, Lisa responded, "I'm glad you feel that way." Her cheeks turned red, which was utterly adorable. I found myself falling even more for her. And so, Lisa and I became a couple. It's been a year since we started dating. Every time I met Lisa, parting became more painful. I wanted to be with her forever. The more I thought about it, the more urgent I felt about proposing. President Jordan, thinking about that woman again. Well, you haven't proposed yet. Hurry up, or she'll get tired of waiting. No, I don't want that. Women don't wait forever. You should propose soon. Okay, I got it. Encouraged by Keith, I decided to go ring shopping. And so, I went to look for an engagement ring. After becoming the president of exciting farm company, I could afford expensive things. But for the ring, I wanted to give something unique, one of a kind in this world. Indeed, expensive items often equate to high quality. For instance, items like leather goods, high-performance cars, or watches. With rings, it's more about the appearance than functionality, and I wanted to give something I had made myself. That's why I visited a shop where I could handcraft a ring. Brand rings often look similar. Together with a designer, I decided to create a one-of-a-kind ring. I decided to create a ring with a flowing form, using platinum as a base. Additionally, I decided to embed diamonds all around it and adorn the center with a large diamond. Engraving on the back was also part of the plan. I did some work on the ring myself. Then the owner finished it by polishing and setting the diamonds. When I went to collect the finished ring, I was glad I had it made. Even though I didn't make it all by myself, seeing the unique and beautiful ring that isn't sold in stores, I felt good about having made it. I invited Lisa for a date to give it to her. Her birthday was near, so I booked a fancy Italian restaurant. As Lisa sipped champagne, I cautiously took out the box. "Lisa, there's something I really want to give you." "What is it?" "This. Will you accept it? It's my feelings for you. An engagement ring." "Yeah, I made it. Well, not entirely by myself." "You made it?" I wondered if she would have preferred a brand, but Lisa gently held the ring, tears in her eyes. "So, this is the only one in the world, right? You made it for me, right?" "Yes, I wanted to give you a unique ring, because you are the only Lisa in the world." "I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. This design is really beautiful. I'm thrilled to receive such a gift." "I'm glad you liked it. Lisa, I promise to cherish and make you happy, so please stay with me forever. I'm begging you. Of course, I want to be with you too. Please take care of me. I'll be a good wife, you'll see." Yes. And with that, our marriage was decided. Our parents agreed, and Lisa and I started looking for a wedding venue. Keith attended our wedding. He gave us his blessings and was moved to tears. Having endured tough times himself, I couldn't help but pray for Keith's happiness. If he hadn't encouraged me, I probably still wouldn't have proposed to Lisa. My mother brought a photo of my father. Somehow, it seemed like he was smiling in the picture. I regret that he can't see his grandchildren, but I hope he'll watch over them from heaven. Some of my middle school classmates came, but Ashley didn't. It's fine that she didn't come. Apparently, she was recently dumped and isn't in the state of mind for this. She's even left her job at a major company. I've had my struggles but never blamed my parents. Looking forward to a happy future, I'm determined to live, focusing only on what lies ahead.